planning in a nutshell, where we're going to be picking up exactly where we left off in the last video. But in case you missed on the previous video, I would highly recommend you go back and watch it, since there's going to be a lot of topics, like for example what an estate plan actually is, along with the components that make one up, that are going to be covered in this video right here. Okay, so just go ahead and click right here, or click in the link in the description below to watch part 1. Now that's done, today we're going to be covering the final component of estate planning, along with the various complications that come with not having an estate plan, to wrap things up. So in the last video, we covered 2 types of conditions that you could be in and the components that apply to each respectively. The common theme for both of these conditions and their components was that they shared a very similar aspect of applying to you when you were in a helpless state of being, whether that be death or disability, but at the same time have differences due to the different situations each covered, which is attributed to their components. And well, this final component is actually an amalgamation of both, and it lies right in the middle of these 2 states, and it's called a living trust, and you'll understand why in just a bit. So what is a living trust? Well, in a lot of ways, a living trust is just a vastly more complex, but again, different version of a pour-over will, which, if you don't know what that is, then you should probably go back to part 1, because frankly, it'll make a lot more sense, and trust me, it was pretty well executed, if I say so myself. Anyway, unlike a pour-over will where you just place your minor stuff inside and that's about it, your living trust actually allows you to put your major valuables in there, like your stocks, collectibles, money, your house even, if you have that kind of stuff anyway, inside a secure safe that allows you to determine some pretty powerful things to the stuff that you put inside. Now, what makes a living trust so complex and special is the amount of customization and power you actually have over it. See, unlike the other components of an estate plan where you decide on only maybe a few aspects or choices, a living trust, you can change the dial on almost every part of it. For starters, you can decide on who's going to take care of your living trust for you when you become unable to do so yourself, and that person's called your trustee. Now, beyond just being handed over the keys of your living trust, your trustee is actually going to be able to follow a set of instructions you leave behind, and this is where things get good. See, in these set of instructions, you can decide on a multitude of choices, like who's going to get what, how much they can receive, how they receive it, and finally, what I think is the coolest one, well, how they are allowed to use whatever they do receive. Like for example, if you give someone money, you can say that they're only allowed to use it for groceries or college or something along those lines. Already you can kind of see with just the single component alone just how beneficial it is to make an estate plan, which is why it's so crucial that you make one. Otherwise you can face some devastating problems later down the line, like the ones I'm about to show you right now. The amount of problems that can be created from having no estate plan are almost too